Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're well. We're due to kick things off in the next 20 seconds or so, just letting a few more people come in. But just to sort of get things slowly going, thanks for joining. Today we're going to go through a webinar around Phocas, one of our key partners here at Klipboard, and especially in the rental division. And we're going to be talking about transforming your reporting processes with Phocas and what they can do with their analytics module. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jason. I'm the sales director over here at Klipboard Rental. And with me today is Sean Benison, who's a senior account executive over at Phocas. I'm lucky enough to have quite a unique perspective on this. I spent over 6 years at Phocas and know it well. And obviously for the best part of the last couple of years, I've been working with the rental division here at Klipboard. So I know how powerful it can be when you pair Phocas, which is a fantastic product, with our suite of on-rent products as well. You know, it transforms people from that very traditional reporting pack, but it just completely transforms you into having those insights and data-led decision making that can really help, you know, move your business in the direction that you want to go. So it's exciting to show you this today. I'll stop speaking, and what I'll do is I'll hand over to Sean, and he can actually show you the product. Sean, over to you.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for the kind introduction and for the invite here today. Appreciate you all taking some time out of your day to learn a little bit more about what Phocas is doing alongside the Klipboard Rental division. Hopefully a really good use of your time. And if there are any questions or comments or feedback that you'd like to post, there should be a chat box on your GoToWebinar browser. Always keen to answer those towards the end. So please do feel free. And Jason, if you wouldn't mind picking up some of those as we go, we can answer them towards the end of today's call. But today, essentially, we're going to be running a fairly open-ended webinar. We've kind of aggregated up what we know some of the on-rent customers really want to be able to see and do quickly in the software. So we thought we'd focus our efforts on just that to make sure you can see the impact on your business. So we'll be looking through a traditional kind of Phocas demonstration built up from a traditional on-rent customers data set, obviously fictitious. And we're going to be working through a couple of points. So what I'd really like to have you walking away today knowing and understanding is how our platform can help you get quicker, easier, and more efficient access to your business data. That's going to help you to identify things like variance within your customer base, help you understand how maybe you can loop in additional data sources alongside your on-rent system to make a central platform for the business. What our on-rent customers really enjoy within the Phocas platform, which you'll see today, is just how quickly and easily and cost effectively you can build reports on the fly to give you the answers to everyday questions. So it's all about instant access to that insight that's really driving your business forward and reporting without all the manual requests or delays or interventions you need to go through. Alongside that today, we'll also be giving you a preview of how customers within your space monitor and also manage and improve utilization across their assets, which is always a very hot topic for some of the customers that already use our tool. If I do have time towards the end, I may also show you a little bit of the financial module within the Phocas platform, but appreciating you may use another system like Sage or Xero to manage your finances. If that is an area of interest and we don't get time to cover it today, please do let Jason or your account manager know, and we'll make sure we set up a separate session for that after today's call. Brilliant. So Phocas, an independent business, we have been operating now for 26 years, look after the needs of around about 3,000 customers globally that typically sit within wholesale distribution, manufacturing, service and rental. And we have offices now in the UK, just based outside of Coventry, over in North America and also in Australia, New Zealand. We have managed over the years, Jason and myself and the team at Klipboard Rental, to attract the likes of a number of different rental customers, many of which have been using our platform for a number of years. Quite a few on that screen are relatively new signups to the Phocas tool, all getting great value, but as you'll probably see, different shapes and sizes, certainly operating within different industries, but they all have their own unique challenges and headaches around data, which have been pretty easily solved using the Phocas platform. In terms of what we deliver as an organization, think of Phocas as a platform for the business. Your start point may be very different to your end position, given that you may add new things into your subscription over the years. But generally speaking, a typical Klipboard Rental customer we'll start with the analytics module, because that's going to give you the quickest and easiest return from your transactional data that relates to things like sales, so contracts and invoices, and your utilisation around your asset base. For anyone that's on the call today that is sitting within the Office of Finance, then getting better visibility of, it could be accounts payable or receivable, all your full financial statements, such as your P&L, cash flow, balance sheet, trial balance, is wrapped up within the module in Phocas called Financial Statements, and we can link that Klipboard Rental and Sage/Xero system together for one central version of the truth. For some of the organisations that go through quite a headache-prone, time-intensive budgeting and forecasting process, certainly becoming more of a hot strategic priority for the businesses we deal with, we do have a budgets and forecast module. And if you're looking for a quicker, easier way to record calls, conversations, notes, tasks, meetings, there is an embedded CRM. So just wanted to sort of paint a picture there as to the comprehensive kind of options you have available to you within the platform. But we're going to start with analytics, and this is really going to be linking on with all of the Klipboard rental data that you hold within your organization today. And I'll be showing you some of the dashboards, some of the grid analysis, and some of the alerts and favorites, which our Klipboard rental customers use the most. We have also introduced, as you would expect with most software organizations that are developing their product, an element of AI into the tool. So rather than knowing where to go, what to do, how to get the answers to your questions, very, very easy now just to open up the Phocas AI and get Phocas feeding you the answers to the questions that you would ordinarily need to go away and manually produce yourself. So a lot of excitement, a lot of development, a lot of enhancements coming to that side of the tool, but certainly wanted to go no further without pointing out, you know, there are some really clever bits of kit within the Phocas platform today. So what I'll do now is I'll move through to a traditional demo environment. Should look familiar to you, built up of a data set of a traditional rental customer. Again, as we go through, just to remind you, if there are any questions which you may have as I start demonstrating, please do ask them with Jason on the call, and we'll unmute and answer some of those towards the end. May just turn my camera off for this next part, but you'll see me again in the next sort of 10 or 15 minutes with the outro. So when we connect to your Klipboard rental on-rent system, what Phocas will do is it will typically take the last 3 or 4 years worth of history at transaction line level, and we install a small little sync application which will move the data from your system into Phocas on a periodic scheduled basis. What Phocas will then do is we will create effectively a template or a solution which has a lot of out-of-the-box content, which will give you a number of dashboards, databases, alerts, and favorites, which will make more sense as we go through the next 15 or 20 minutes. But it's very easy in Phocas to create brand new dashboards, share them around your business, and to be able to give users access to the information that makes a difference to their world, rather than relying on them to filter down and slice and dice into all areas. So as a web-based application, you get your own username and password, and that will allow you to limit a user to only be able to see, do, and access what means the most to them in the business. So if you're a multi-depot business, it may make sense for the branch manager or the depot manager to only see their slice of the data. If I'm a salesperson on the road visiting customers, then again, the sort of the picture I see is very much managed and focused and condensed around the areas that I can influence. With it being web-based, you can access Phocas on any web-enabled device. And essentially, we position 3 levels of the tool, which you can use as a Phocas user. You are supported by Phocas, implemented by Phocas. So once you come on board, you will have your own dedicated customer success manager and an implementation consultant responsible for getting you up to speed, up and live within typically 4 or 5 weeks, including a bit of queue time. But the tool itself sits in 3 levels, as mentioned. The first level of which is what we call the dashboard, or dashboards rather. And what these are designed to do is give you a really clear picture from the first point of entry into our tool as to how your business is performing. Where are you winning and losing? What's hot, what's cold? And where do you need to spend your time in the business to deal with opportunities or threats that might significantly impact the business if they could be quickly recognized? So as you can see, as a managing director, as a sales director, as a branch manager, in my company overview dashboard, I can see a summary of all of the revenue information that's passing through my business. Now, this could be broken down by asset type, by brand, by category. I could be comparing my performance this year compared to a previous period or a budget. But I also want to bring those other reporting points to the forefront as well, such as how has the business performed over the last 12 months? How has the last quarter's performance lined up with that overall summary? We can start to visualize and picture data in lots of different ways. So we may bring in our trend lines. We may bring in some commentary to describe what's happening on the dashboard. A lot of the clients that I work with using OnRent are particularly interested in the growth or the decline of customer spend. So what we can position on a dashboard very quickly is a list of customers that we deal with, their current and previous spend over the periods of time that you've selected. And what we can then do is toggle between those that are growing or newly acquired, but probably more importantly, those that are maybe dropping off or perhaps disappeared altogether. So despite the growth you may see as in your business, one of the big hang-ups, the big anxieties is, well, actually, are we losing revenue to our competition? Are our customers' businesses changing without us recognizing that change? We want to be able to deal with that very quickly. And I'll show you the scorecard in a moment, which will give your team that ability to ask the relevant questions. Beyond that, we can start to go into product performance, category performance, and we can take it as far down as geographical locations. So if you want to pinpoint exactly where your top customers are located, or to pinpoint those customers that are dropping off week on week, month on month, day on day, or you want to see where your equipment is out being utilized or underutilized, then you have that ability to see data in lots of different ways, which makes it very easy in one space to see everything that's going on in your organization. Now, two things you can do on a dashboard. The first of which is filter that data. So let's assume as a managing director here, I want to concentrate on a particular depot, or in this case, it's a particular item group. We can hit the focus button at the top, and what you'll see there is all of the data will refresh instantly to then give me a picture of how that product group is performing in isolation. And we can take that down as far as we need to go to get to almost, transaction line level within a glance. If I give you the example earlier of where we maybe had customers that were growing or shrinking, it would be great to get an idea in the question box as to whether that's something you like to track today or something you would like to track tomorrow, theoretically with a platform in place. I may be the account manager for, let's go with Chesterplan. And we can see here they did 1.4 million last year. They've done 663K this year. There is a cause for concern there that I would expect my sales team, my account managers, my internal telesales to get on the phone and talk to them about. So if I click on Chesterplan here, it will open up the scorecard for that customer. And that scorecard is my reference point for the conversation, for the dialogue, for the engagement that I have with that client. So what I want this scorecard to tell me as a salesperson is, where is the customer located? What value of sales have we done with that customer over the periods that I've selected? Of the things that we could be hiring out to them, what proportion, what mix of those products or assets does this customer take? And I can also see those sales trends month on month, year on year, to give me a good understanding of where that customer is or is likely to start spending their money with me. So as well as fielding the normal conversations, I can have a bit more personalization around any engagement that I have with that client. And we find that this really transforms the way in which your teams will be liaising with and asking questions of the customers you deal with today. So as you can see, very quick, very simple, very easy for a non-technical user to get everything they need within a couple of clicks. And again, built and formatted and molded around the scenarios you would want to use them for. On the other end of the spectrum, we also have dashboards for things like utilization. So again, if you're looking at unique stock items as a business, if you're a multi-depot organization or considering products to buy versus to cross-hire, utilization of those assets will be an absolute key measure or metric for you as an organization. So as part of our standard solution, we also bring out all the utilisation data for Phocas to be able to analyse and query and present back to you in a similar kind of view to what you're seeing here on screen. So again, summary at the top to be able to filter, to be able to break down the different types of assets across the business. We may be filtering this by depot or by location. And then we can start to see the health or the utilisation score of those assets. So again, the same principle applies here within lighting. I can focus down and I can see how well utilised are we as a business when it comes to the lighting division within our organisation. And again, we could take that a step further if we wanted to get us down to a real score that will determine success or failure, depending on whether it's left alone or accelerated moving ahead. We can also see the item status of those assets. So for many of you, you'll want to know, what's on hire, what's available to hire, perhaps what's in the workshop that will be going available to hire in the not too distant future. To be able to see all of that clearly and easily, we find a lot of businesses we work with today, pre-Phocas, are running a lot of complicated spreadsheets, trying to generate reports within OnRent, relying on a bit of gut feel, whereas Phocas will be telling you the facts, and it lines up perfectly with your revenue performance so that you can really get a clear picture and make decisions much more easily within your business today. Hopefully all makes sense. I'm going to move into the grid, but if there are any questions, any comments around the dashboarding or how you can dashboard or things you'd like to see on your dashboard, please do take the opportunity over the next 30 seconds to write those into the chat box. We'll be glad for your feedback as we go. Now the second level down, and again, you can access the sales grid in two ways. You can either drill down through any of these widgets on screen, or you can select your grid from the left-hand menu here. And what that will do is it will drop you down into the sales grid. And the sales grid is really a mirror image of all of your OnRent data, but available in a way in which it makes it very easy to go and navigate through that information and find the answers to everyday questions. Now, with it being read-only, you can't break it. The same principle applies to my opening comments in that if you are a depot manager or a branch manager or a salesperson, whilst the managing director may be seeing the overall picture, you as an individual contributor to the business will only be seeing your slice of that data. Again, this is more holistic and high level. So the tables down the left should look familiar, built from a traditional OnRent database. So anything from accounts to sales rep, contract ID, item group, status, down into depot. These will be individual to your business and the way in which you've got your system set up. The tools across the top are the Phocas tools that simply allow you to change the way the data looks in the grid. So if I wanted to see a rolling 12 months, I can select that period. If Jason was more interested in seeing the last 3 months, he can change to that period and the data will change in the grid. I may want to look at contracts. Somebody else in the business may want to look at invoices. We can switch between streams to see those different channels of revenue. And again, when it comes to measures, typically calculated from the transaction, so this could be value of sales versus quantity of units throughout that given period of time. On the right-hand side, we can also export the data if we need to. And if you want to turn anything into a visual representation that you can use on your dashboard, you don't need anybody in-house that's technical. You don't need to come to us. You don't need to go to Klipboard Rental. You can find the view that is of most interest to you. So this could be a 12-month summary of sales. And you click this little chart builder. And what that will do there is it will give you all the available options to present that data accurately to a point at which you can add it to a dashboard and it's there for the entire business to see. If you don't quite know what you're looking for, but you know the sorts of insights you need, you can, as I mentioned there, open up the Phocas AI and you can start to ask those questions in a free text format to be able to give you the workflow and how it would find those answers in the grid, with that ability then to drill down further or ask follow-up questions to get the answers you need. So a couple of modes. If I take a normal OnRent customer that uses Phocas, the first thing they will normally want to see in the grid is a period of time, which in this instance we've chosen the last 12 months, and they will want to know what they've achieved in terms of a revenue figure. So we've kept this down on sales value. And you can see to date, we've achieved £2.3 million worth of revenue. Now, the question is then yours to ask Phocas as to where you would like to take that number. And most organizations will want to see that broken out by customer. So your customer sales report is presented within a millisecond. Perhaps other people in the business would want to see what item groups or assets are performing particularly well. And we can then take that question further by drilling down and slicing and dicing through the grid. So within our heavy plant machinery, of which we've done 506K over the last 12 months, my next question might be, which accounts do we deal with that have been hiring those assets out from us? And Chester Plant there are our top performing customer in that space. So the next question might be, well, within heavy plant, which exact items or subgroups or sub-products is it that that customer is taking from us, and where is that revenue being presented throughout the months of the year? Is it a consistent spend, or is it a spend that happens typically at a seasonal point or certain points throughout the year? And we can continue to drill down and slice and dice and filter that data all the way down to transaction line level if I need to get to that level. And you will then see the contract and the invoice IDs without having to go back into Inspire to get that data. So the concept behind period mode is show me a period of time using a stream that makes most sense for me, and break it down by any of these dimensions on the left-hand side to give me answers straight away, rather than relying on someone else to go and generate that for me. The second mode, which we see used quite ordinarily, is the variance mode. And what variance allows us to do is, again, as we saw on the dashboard at the start, compare one period to another. So if I was looking at the current 12 months by customer and comparing it to the previous 12 months by customer, what Phocas is able to do at a single glance is show me all of the growth or newly acquired accounts in that period. But also by clicking that column again, I can start to see all the variance. And straight away, as a business director, there's two accounts there that are giving me the equivalent of close to £1.6 million worth of lost business year on year. And there may be good reason for that, but there may also be that underlying fact that they've gone elsewhere without considering your services for that change. So if we took ABS garages, the first question I would probably have is, well, what is it that that customer has stopped procuring from us? And of that heavy plant machinery, let's have a look at exactly which items we've lost. And we can see there is one item in particular which has actually drawn that customer's revenue down significantly. And again, no guarantee to get the business back, but a really good opportunity to address that with the customer. And again, we may want to change the quantity, and we can see there was 10,000 units in this case that went out versus 45 in the previous period. So the grid really complements the dashboards. It's where you can drill down, slice and dice, filter the data, get reports instantly, rather than relying on Klipboard Rental to create those reports for you, or relying on a finance or an IT manager in your own business. Give everybody that autonomy, everybody that ownership, everybody that ability to go in and really drive their performance based on data that means the most to them. The dashboards are really designed to paint the picture, to tell the story. It's a workspace, it's a storyboard for the business to be able to determine very quickly, where are we winning, where are we losing, what's hot, what's cold, where does my time need to be spent in the business today. The scorecard, for those of you that have internal, external account managers, business development reps, it is really, really key for them to be able to see at a glance, at any time of the day, what's going on with the customer that I'm currently liaising with now. And again, these scorecards can be built to suit the needs of your business. Finally, before giving you that preview of finance, I also wanted to make you aware that on the homepage, so think of this as the third layer down, we also have the favorites. Now, favorites are reports that you can save in the grid. If I had a customer sales report there, which I wanted to save, I can save that as a favorite. It will then sit as a bookmark on your homepage, and it's very easy for you then to go and subscribe yourself or other people in the business to that report to ensure that they receive it in a timely manner. So if I wanted this sales report to go out as a PDF, and I wanted everybody in the business to receive that every week on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, I can schedule that report to hit the user's inbox with an attachment and a link back into Phocas to review the results. On the other hand, alerts can be built to actively manage good or bad news within your business today. So if you would like to alert your team to accounts that haven't spent in the last 6 months, or you would like to alert your finance team to customers that have an outstanding balance of more than X number of pounds over a particular period, if you are looking at alerting your operational teams to certain assets in the business that have a very poor utilization, then you can create alert for that criteria. And what Phocas will do there is track the results for you, and being subscribed, similar to a favorite, we can make sure that information hits the inbox of the relevant user as and when it's needed. So on a daily basis, this one may go out, but it may only hit the inbox if the number of those offending objects goes beyond a criteria you would be comfortable with. And we find that senior leadership and management teams like to manage by exception rather than finding themselves pulled into the everyday running of the business. Hopefully that's been helpful. And as a standard solution out of the box within a 4 or 5 week period, that's the kind of functionality that you can have at your fingertips. There is a very, very small time requirement from your side to validate the numbers and to do some training with the Phocas team, which we do remotely. But from a sales, from a utilization, from a dashboard, grid and alerts and favorites perspective, that might be the perfect position to get going with Phocas on. For any of you on the call today, again, will be quite handy in the chat box if anybody is dealing with the financial data within the business. We have a separate module which we call financial statements, and financial statements will then be connecting to the other source of data that you've run in your business today, which is most likely Sage or Xero, something of that description that manages all of the journal postings into the business. And when we talk to a finance manager, a financial controller, a CFO, what they're really interested in finding out is how are we performing throughout the month versus how did we perform last month? You know, we understand that month end is a stressful, time-intensive, somewhat laborious process to get done for the business. So we introduced the financial statements module to allow organizations to see in a very similar format to how sales is presented, all of your chart of accounts, whether it's your profit and loss, your balance sheet, your cash flow statement, or the full trial balance. The grid looks almost identical to sales with a few distinct differences. These are obviously the general ledger or nominals from within your finance system. The tools across the top are almost the same, changing the period, looking at different streams, bringing in different measures. But this time we can also reformat the way the tables look or the columns look in your financial statement to give you a clearer picture of your financial performance, your expenditure versus your budget. And the idea is if you have multi-branches or you have multi-depots, if you are looking to consolidate financial data, if you are looking to customize those statements, then that functionality is available to you in the financial statements module so that you're not relying on your account system for the structure and the functionality as you would do without this sort of tool. So as a finance director, I can very easily pull together a dashboard which holds all of the financial metrics for the business. I can put my commentary in there throughout the month to let the organization know how we've been performing. And we can then also start to include all of the information that we would be happy to share with the team and maybe withhold some of that that's more at a shareholder level. So a board pack will be updating throughout the month, and it will give me the ability to tell that story to people in the business that don't necessarily sit within finance or understand the inner workings of a P&L or trial balance. So again, just giving some extra functionality there to others in the business that may find it useful. And I think without going too much further, that's what we were here to share with you today. Just a preview, just an ability for you to capture a potential solution that adds more value to your Klipboard Rental subscription. We would be more than happy to run a separate session alongside your Klipboard account manager to really understand your world, to understand with a magic wand, what would a good solution look like that would allow you to grow and streamline your operations. But I hope you found it informative. Phocas has been really at the forefront of reporting now for a number of years in your space. The sort of the reliance on users having to build the platform themselves is almost a non-event. So if you have been considering other options, or you're using options at the moment where you're having to build all of your dashboards from scratch and you have to be a technical user to build the reports, I'd really encourage a conversation with you to see how we might be able to make that process a little bit easier. So thank you for your time. Going to leave this slide on screen. I'm sure Jason will be encouraging you over the next couple of seconds to contact your Klipboard account manager for any further discussions. But other than that, it's been a pleasure to present to you all today. And Jason, perhaps just a quick outro from yourself and any questions that may have been asked throughout the session.
Thanks for that, Sean. Really great. Hopefully it gives everyone who hasn't seen Phocas yet just a little bit of a flavour and a taste of what it can do. And we've got quite a few customers running Phocas paired, especially with our office product. And there's some really cool stuff you can do around that. We've got customers putting dashboards on wall boards in offices. We've got people sharing dashboards with their key accounts, their top 10 customers. So they've got a sort of a shared mutual workspace to share that information between. And I think that what's really powerful, and I know we touched on it there, is being able to connect in that finance data as well. So you've got that one pane of glass view across the business. So if you are running a Sage or a third-party finance package there, you can bring all that together with your office data and see it in one place. So it's really powerful stuff. Again, thanks to Sean. As Sean has quite rightly said, if you want any more information or you just want a personalised sort of 45-minute deep dive into what Phocas could look like for your business, reach out to your account manager first and foremost, obviously myself and Sean, or reach out in every which way you can, and we'll get that organised for you. But other than that, thanks for attending today. If you couldn't join live, there'll be a recording getting sent around that hopefully you can watch, and hopefully we'll be speaking to some of you soon. Thanks for joining.